So here we're going to be looking at simplifying complex fractions, and I'm going to be looking at a slightly more challenging problem right here. So once again, there are two ways we can solve this problem. We can multiply by a form of 1 to get rid of all of these denominators, or we can combine the fractions on the top and combine the fractions on the bottom and turn it into a division problem. So I'm going to start by multiplying by a form of 1. So we want to multiply this fraction by a number that will get rid of all these denominators. And it's easiest to go term by term when you're doing this. So for example, starting with 4 over x plus 1, we want to multiply that by a number that will get rid of this denominator, and that number would just be x plus 1. And since the number we're multiplying by has to be equal to 1, if we put a number on the top, we also have to put 1 in the bottom so that this is always equal to 1. So moving on to the next term, 2 over x minus 3, we want to multiply that by x minus 3 to get rid of the denominator. And since we're putting it in the top of the fraction, we have to put it in the bottom. Moving on to the next term, 2 over x plus 1, we have to multiply it by x plus 1, but you'll notice that number is already there, so we don't have to worry about that. And for the last term, 6 over x plus 4, we just multiply that by x plus 4. And we have to put that in the top too, so that this is always equal to 1. So now this is just a multiplication problem. So when you multiply it out, for our first term here, the x plus 1s are going to cancel. So we just get 4 times x minus 3 times x plus 4. And for the next term, the x minus 3s are going to cancel, so we're going to get minus 2 times x plus 1, x plus 4. And so for the denominator, for this first term, the x plus 1s are going to cancel, so we're going to get 2 times x minus 3, x plus 4. And for this last term, the x plus 4s are going to cancel, so we're going to get 6 times x plus 1, x minus 3. So now we can expand this fraction, and once we do that, that's going to look like 4 times x squared plus 4x minus 48. And so for this next part, that's going to look like it's going to be minus 2x squared minus 10x minus 8. And for the denominator, we're going to get 2x squared plus 2x minus 24 plus 6x squared minus 12x minus 18. Alright, so now we can cancel all of these terms, and once we do that, we're going to be left with 2x squared minus 6x minus 56. So these two go together, so we're going to get, over 8x squared, and then that's going to be 10x, and then we're going to get minus 44. Or I'm sorry, 42. Because negative 24 minus 18 is 42. So now we want to factor this fraction. So immediately we can pull out a 2. And you could have also done that at the beginning of the problem if you wanted to. But we'll just do that now. We'll factor out a 2, so we're left with 2x squared minus 3x plus minus 28. And that's going to be over 4x squared minus 5x minus 21. And so these are going to cancel. And so these two numbers actually factor out pretty nicely. This top piece becomes x minus 7 x plus 4 over 4x plus 7 x minus 3. And that's the solution. And so in the next method I show you, you'll notice that one of the advantages is that you don't actually have to factor these out. Once you solve the problem, it will already be factored. So it's much easier in that sense. So the next method I'm going to show you, we are going to combine these two fractions in the numerator and these two fractions in the denominator and turn it into a division problem. So our common denominator here is going to be x minus 1 times x minus 3. And so once we combine those fractions, we're going to get 4 times x minus 3 minus 2 times x plus 1. And that's going to be over x plus 1 times x minus 3. So there we have our numerator, and so for our denominator, we're going to do the same thing. The common denominator between these two terms is going to be x plus 4 times x minus 1. And so once we combine the fractions, we're going to get 2 times x plus 4 plus 6 times x plus 1, or plus 6 times, times x plus 1. And that's going to be over x plus 1 times x plus 4. Okay, so now this is just a division problem, and the way we solve that is we flip the denominator and multiply. So that's going to be 4x minus 3 minus 2x plus 1 over x plus 1 x minus 3 times, so we put this on the top, x plus 1 x plus 4, and we're going to move this to the bottom. It's going to be 2x plus 4, and that's going to be plus 6x plus 1. And so before we multiply these out, we probably actually want to expand this term here and this term here so we can cancel out some of the numbers. So if we do that, that's going to be 4x minus 12 minus 2x minus 2. And then the bottom piece stays the same. Then this top piece here is going to stay the same. And so on the bottom, that's going to be 2x plus 8 plus 6x plus 6. And so if we simplify that, so 4x minus 2x, well, that's just 2x. and that's going to be minus 14 so 1. Okay, and so this piece is going to be the same. And so 2x plus 6x is 8x. And then that's going to be plus, sorry, 2x plus 6x, plus 14. Okay, so now we can just multiply this out. And so that's going to be, so the x plus 1s are going to cancel. And that's going to be 2x minus 14 times x plus 4 over x plus 3, 8x plus 14. And you'll notice once again we can actually pull a 2 out of these two terms. And so that makes it 2 times x minus 7 times x plus 4 over 2 times 4x plus 7 times x plus 3. And so all we have to do from there is cancel our 2's, and we have our solution x minus 7 x plus 4 over 4x plus 7 x plus 3, and that's our solution. And you'll notice it's the same thing we got when we use the other method. The only difference is when we use this method, we kind of had to figure out what these two numbers factored into. But when we turned it into a division problem, we didn't have to do that. And so that's our solution.